Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. Man, we having such a great time. We in here taking pictures, and everybody is greeting everybody. It's definitely a wonderful night at the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. If you want to be a part of it, call us at 804-402-2893. That's the number to dial to be a part of tonight's discussion. You know, every single time I have an opportunity to have this brother in the room, it's a good day for me. He's been here for a little while, but I hadn't had an opportunity to get him the mic because we was doing business with the ladies of the makeover, as well as our sister Takara Felix, who was talking to us about Spice Rack and Miss U.S. Virgin Islands. But this brother is in the room with us tonight. He is my brother, partner, and friend, Jay Grizzy Green. What's up, brother?
What's going on, cool home slice?
What's up, brother? Giving them a pound as we talking, man.
That's how we do it, man.
It's good to see you, man. You doing all right?
Good to be here. Yeah, I'm doing great, man. I was just telling the girls on the break, man, they was having church up in here.
Yeah, man. We did some testimonials.
Yeah.
You know, and we talked about some
almost cried.
Fabulous things. And, you know, when I said that it would be super fabulous to be a part of their event, too bad, you know, I ain't a girl. Right. You know what I mean? Maybe I can you know, sit.
We can do the bosom buddies thing and
we can
crash
do that.
It. Yeah, we can do that. I got to be Tom Hanks, though.
Or white chicks.
Yeah.
we could do that. We could do white chicks.
For sure.
And whatnot. And, of course, our sister, who is the co-host of this show, you hear her every single week, my big sis and yours, S.Y. Butler. What's up, baby?
What's up?
What's
What's
good?
going on, y'all? It is nothing but beautiful, beautiful smiles in here. Y'all are missing these lovely ladies. I don't know. But it is a great vibe up in this room.
They done took about 75 pictures, though.
75?
75.
Dang.
To be exact. I took about 30 on the break.
I'm thinking we should sell them like $5 a photo.
$5 a pop. No, they'll be up on the Legacy Internet Radio Facebook page, and there'll be a link. We'll promote their events, and it'll be a link out there for them.
What's up with you? Long time no see.
Nothing, man. I'm just, I'm ready for winter to go, and ready for the summer to get here. Ready. Not too high, but I just been chilling.
I'm ready. Good.
Taking care of things.
You're looking good. You're looking well relaxed.
I am. I've been relaxing. I've been relaxing too much, I think.
Really? I don't know if.
Yeah, like I haven't been. I'm not idle. It's just that I don't. Yeah. I just slowed down a lot.
Just chilling.
To put it nicely, I have.
My brother got on his sexy glasses today.
He do?
Yeah.
Well, how you know? Well, you would know, but as opposed to the unsexy glass?
Yeah, those are the ones where I could see straight to his eyes.
Oh. You can see my eyes with these?
I can see them slightly.
That's right. Nice, I guess I need to get it. I guess I got to get a darker tint.
Grab that one right there.
You don't need a darker
I guess
tint.
I got to get a darker tint. You know how Steppin with Marcus J. Live from the Den, Legacy Internet Radio. We lost our sister Takara, and we thank her for being here with us tonight. And we hope that you guys who have been listening to us tonight will support her, and we'll make sure that we put all of her information and social media on our social media so that you can help her in her endeavor to become Miss U.S. Virgin Islands Estate Tutu. So we look forward to hearing from her when she gets back from Daytona, and we hope to get some good news from her. But we still have our sisters from the makeover. We've got Deshawn and Tiffany and Jessica, Lestar and Shantae here. We've got Jay Grizzy in the room. We've got the co-host S.Y. Butler in the room. And, of course, Mr. 3375 will rejoin us here shortly. As we do this part of the show every week, we always ask the question, what the hell?
What the bells above?
We ask that question because there are things that come up that kind of trip you out a little bit that make you say, what the hell? And so the first thing I want to ask what the hell about is this walkout that the kids here in Richmond, Virginia have had. The kids in Richmond walked out of schools today. And so I want to talk a little bit about that, because I don't know about y'all, but when I grew up in Jersey City, New Jersey in the 80s and 90s, we ain't ever walk out. I mean, we had stuff that we were upset about, but we ain't never walk out. But they were protesting. The reason why they were protesting was the possible closings of schools here in town. There's about 100 kids from open and community high schools. They actually walked to City Hall today around 2 o'clock. And so they were in protest, and I'm pulling up the story here on the computer, and I'm showing the ladies here a photograph of them. They've got their billboards and the stuff that they're showing in their protest. And so I just want to pass the mic around and see if anybody has any thoughts. So they were joined by others from other schools. They were at a rally. They packed the council chambers. 60 people had signed up to speak at City Council's budget hearing. Most of them listed the school funding as a topic that they would like to address. So any comments that I can elicit from the panel, including my brother Grizz. Grizz, jump in here first. You hadn't had a word to speak on.
Yeah, I can. Well, this is not the first time the city of Richmond has threatened or attempted to close down high school in Richmond. I remember when I was in, matter of fact, not even remember, the school I went to, Thomas Jefferson High School, in 1989, they tried to close us down to cut a budget shortfall. And we did the exact same thing. We walked from way up by Willow Lawn all the way to City Hall to protest them from closing the school. And, of course, TJ is still around, so they didn't do it. But here we are 25 years later, and now they're trying to do it to Armstrong High School. I saw a stat the other day just to speak on this subject, Mark. I don't know if it was on social media or was it in one of the newspapers, but someone said it's a shame that school funding is attached to your property taxes, and where you live determines how funding of your school and your school district is. So, not everybody is going to have the same resources as, because in Armstrong there are five public housing communities that actually feed into that school system. So how else were they going to get much funding? And I mean, they've already closed, what was it, Kennedy and Richmond, and they've merged. They used to merge all the high schools. My point is that with all this being said is there's got to be a way where there's a happy compromise in regards to this. And I understand the student, when you're young, you protest everything. Bernie Sanders people know what I'm talking about. You gonna protest, you don't like school lunch, you're gonna protest this, you're gonna protest that. Here's the issue with the city of Richmond. Where's the money gonna come from? I'm playing devil's advocate here, but where's the money gonna come from to keep Armstrong open? I'll throw that out there for the panel, the listeners here listening to Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
I look at it like this, man. I love the fact that the students, rather, I don't want to call them kids, they're young adults, they have the initiative to realize that there's something that's going on that they're unhappy about. So we can, as adults, get in our feelings about them protesting. I'm personally not one of them, but there are some folks who have issues with them protesting. I just feel like if you got an issue, it is fundamental to being a person who lives in this country to be able to protest something that you don't like. And we as black folks should know that better than anybody else. I mean, true. So, the truth of the matter is, if they really, really cared about what the students thought, then they will act.
They would act.
They would act. And you were onto something. I'm not from Richmond, and so I don't know a whole lot about the geography of where all the schools are. But I know the school that's off of Mechanicsville Pike.
That's it.
That's the Armstrong you were talking about? Yeah. I was in that neighborhood. My job, I work in the field, so I'm always moving around, and I was over there. And I noticed as you were talking,
every corner you turned, it was a court.
Every 20, it's about three of them.
Yeah.
Well, you said five that feed into that. One of the things that I can think of, and I know this is a little bit off the subject, and I'm going to kind of tie it together in a minute, but if you look at Henrico, for those folks who are not here in Richmond, You know, Henrico, for my Jersey City people, think of the Heights.
Orange.
No. Think of the Heights for my Jersey City people. Think of West Side Avenue for my Jersey City people. Henrico County is a county that surrounds the city of Richmond on 3 of the 4 sides, not the south. And in the north and in the east, it's the hood. And in the west, it's not the hood. It's where the rich folks is at. And you would think with it being one county that the money would be properly dispersed amongst all the children.
Nope.
If you go to Henrico High School, if you go to Highland Springs High School, you're not going to get the same benefits, you're not going to get the same equipment, and you're not going to get the same education that you would get if you went to Deep Run High School, if you went to, help me out, some other, Godwin, what's the other one that's up? Freeman. In the western parts. And so that's something that we need to be mindful of. You know, I don't know that it's directly connected to the kids walking out, but it was something
it's
that
segregation.
I think that we're far more segregated now than we ever were. One of the worst things that ever happened to us as black people in this country is integration, because integration took away a whole lot of the drive and self-determination that we had.
True.
And then you add to the fact that it lulled you into a false sense of, you know, inclusion. You know, it's funny that you say that, because I had a meme that I had in social media a little while ago when we talked about what you want is inclusion, and you looked at integration. And integration is a falsehood. It's a farce, because okay, you can integrate, but you only integrate in certain little areas. You know what I mean? You might be able to live in this area, but you're not going to get to live everywhere. Mr. 3375, you want to jump in here?
It's funny when you talk about where the different schools at. Where I lived at, I had a choice to go to Armstrong or Kennedy, because both of them was open then, or go to Verona. And I thought I'd get a better education if I go out there in Verona. So that's where I went. So, yeah. But not in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Like, I graduated in 94. So from 90 to 94, it wasn't like that. Until people was like, okay, now all the black people out there. You go out there now, Verona's like 90% black people. But when it was only like 10% when I was going. So I knew I was going to get a better education.
And I can, this is Deshaun, and I can honestly say the same thing as Mr. 3375, because I lived in Highland Springs when I was going to high school. When I was going to high school. So I went to Fairfield Middle School, and luckily for me, a teacher pretty much, I think she blackmailed me. So, she blackmailed me to fill out an application to Godwin, and I got accepted into Godwin, and I went to Godwin. And when I say I was making straight A's at Fairfield Middle School, and when I got to Godwin High School, them straight A's turned to like C's, pretty much. I had to work harder to make sure that my grades were A's and B's. So yeah, I can attest to that. Yes, definitely.
Do we have got 5 more minutes on this topic?
Go ahead, go for it.
I mean, as we're all African Americans, and we're sitting there talking about
I'm black.
Yeah, black from the motherland. Word. I'm trying to be political.
I don't like that phrase.
Right.
And politically correct. Really?
No, I mean
politically correct.
I'm trying to be,
Since
for
when
the
am I
listeners.
politically correct?
I know we keep some extra. We keep some extra here at Ain't No Half Steppin', but we all are speaking
listen
about
to this show. They know they ain't getting no politically correct from me.
Those are 3 examples of just in Central Virginia, where Verona, Highland Springs, and TJ, where and you had to apply out of your district just to go to Godwin. That's on the other side of the county. When was King's speech? 63?
What, I Have a Dream?
Yeah.
August 28th, 1963.
When was Roe v. Wade? 57, 55? 60 years later, and we got kids from poor black communities in Richmond walking and protesting to keep their school open.
Right.
I mean, it's 60 years later. It almost makes you think of the people that I would say my grandparents or our grandparents' generation of what were they fighting for? And what has happened in the 50 years since all of these things? It's like almost, Marcus, maybe you can disagree, but I want to have a conversation. It's like we need to get shock therapy in order for us to get back into that type of, I won't even use a strong word of a revolutionary point of view as far as, protesting and advocating for the things that we believe in. Right. But it's almost like we need Trump back in office for us to get that done. I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? That would probably, something that extreme would be the only thing that will rile up the masses. I mean, us as conscious brothers and sisters, we are on it. But as masses, we need something just as extreme. Well, of course, I'm not advocating to put Trump in office. But I'm saying, what will it take for us to not have something like this in Richmond happen, or any other situation? And I mean, it's not indicative of Richmond. This happens in every inner city school. And look at Chicago. Look at Detroit.
But I guess the only thing that I would say to that is, I've said it on this show week after week after week after week. I don't like any of these people. Like, none of them.
I know you don't.
None of them. Like,
What about our black leadership?
I want to vote for, like, Pee Wee Herman or something before these people. Like, seriously. I mean, when I think about black leadership, I roll my eyes.
Right.
Not for the reason that you may think. But because no other community has to say that they have their own separate leadership. And our community is lazy because we sit around and we wait for the next Martin Luther King Jr. to come. The problem with that is on April 4th, 1968, when the United States government murdered him, everybody that came behind him turned into a scared Negro. And you can't blame them because they saw what happened to Martin Luther King, and they saw what happened to Malcolm X, and they saw what happened to Medgar Evers, and they saw what happened to the three, workers, Schwerner and Goodwin and
Fred Hampton
and the other ones, and of course Fred Hampton. They rolled up in his house and took him out, and then the Kennedy boys, and so they saw what would happen if you did anything that even looked like you wanted to help not so much people of color, because that would be the easy thing to say,
right?
But just people who ain't rich. You know what I'm saying? And so when we talk about black leadership, we're at a point now, we got 40 million black people in this country.
Yep.
In the 50s it was more like 15.
Right.
So we got plenty of people in this country that can fix stuff. We ain't got to sit around and wait for the black messiah. We ain't got to sit around and wait for Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and Tavis Smiley and Dick Gregory and Warren Ballentine and Marcus J. We ain't got to sit around and wait. What y'all laughing at? What y'all laughing? What y'all laughing at?
She's got a point. She's laughing at Marcus, the way you put Marcus J in there.
No, because I have a voice.
You do.
And so I feel like I deserve to be put in that class.
Right.
All right.
What you got, sister?
So you mentioned black leadership, and I wanted to say, as for myself, one, it's all about a mindset. I graduated from George Woodhouse High School, which is on the south side of the city. But because of my surroundings of who I grew up with, my family supporting me, I had great examples of black people, not only people, but women in leadership. My aunt at this very moment is the mayor of Hopewell, Virginia. I have someone as an example of showing me what it looks like to be a leader and to be an example. I was valedictorian of my class when I graduated from George Woodhouse High School. It's all about a mindset. We, as a church, we go into different low-income neighborhoods, and we try to tell people, how to change their mindset. It's all about a mindset. You mentioned that these were students of Open High School. You have to understand Open High School is a whole bunch of intelligent kids in one location. So if they make up their mind they're going to do something, they probably going to be the ones to do it. So you got to think, whereas if it's Armstrong, not saying that these weren't the kids that were doing it, but those are the kids from those 5 neighborhoods that are probably may not have had the idea to decide they want to do something about it. But it's the people who are around people who are pushing them to continue to fight for their purpose, go for their dreams, and they can do anything and everything that they put their minds to. So they decided they don't want this school to close, and they're going to do something about it. It's all about a mindset. That's really what it boils down to. And these are kids, very intelligent kids, that know that they can do anything, and there's nothing that nobody can do to stop
But Open
them.
is like a charter school, isn't it? It's almost like a charter school. You have to apply to get into Open. Okay.
It's still a public school, though.
Yeah, I was going to kind of, she kind of touched on what I was going to say, but I really think it goes back to leadership in terms of having people in place who really are going to have the passion to change the mindsets, even in the environments from where the children come from. Just in me working with Ginner Park Elementary School, which is in the city of Richmond, what we find is that a lot of the children, they come into the system and they don't even have the basic needs because their parents don't have the basic needs. And so if you think about some of the kids, a lot of them may not necessarily be living with their parents, but their grandparents. And if it goes back to their grandparents being intimidated by everything that happened with Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. So it's like, how can they teach their children to stand up for what's right in a way that's going to get the leaders' attention, or even build them up to be the future leaders who are going to have that same passion and that fire that they had to change a mindset. You have to change the mindset, because the mindset fuels your behaviors fuel your actions. So it has to start with the mindset, with leaders having that passion.
But you can't, this is what I always like to play devil's advocate on Ain't No Half Steppin'. That is use old Bible verb. You can't, when two dummies begat something, you get a dummy. You can't put, when you say it all starts in the home, okay. Let's say if the father has a 8th grade education, and this could be in inner city, this could be in poor white trailer community, it could be any community. If he's got a 7th grade education and the mama got a 10th grade education, when they begat a kid, you working from a point of below. That means that the school system still has to work extra to get you to see where you need to be. My point is that it does begin in the home. So adults have to care about their community. Mothers, fathers, grandmothers, have to care about their community. And y'all was speaking on it earlier about the older people not willing to take advice. They need to step aside, because they're going to get left behind and you hurting and holding your kids back. I'm sorry to take up the balance of the time.
It's all good. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. I wanted to wrap up, because we're going to be losing our ladies here at the end of this segment. And so I wanted to give each of them an opportunity, as we did in the last segment, to just say whatever they want to say, whoever may be listening, on the strength of them. So Deshaun, Tiffany, Jessica, Lestar, and Shantae, grab the mic as we did before in the last segment. There's your opportunity to say your quick rant and your quick closing, which is what we do. I mentioned to you guys earlier, what we do is where we just say whatever it is we want to say. So if you've got something, go for it.
All right, so this is Deshaun closing out, but I just want to let y'all know that y'all are beautiful. I can't see y'all right now, but I know that y'all are beautiful because y'all are made in God's image. And what you need to do, I can't force you, but what you need to do is come to this makeover on May 7th and just experience an explosion, because that's literally what it is, like a nuclear explosion on God and experiencing God. Like, just come, because it's going to be amazing, and y'all are beautiful.
All right, this is Tiffany closing out. Just want to tell all of the beautiful women out there that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Come out to the makeover May 7th, and you're going to experience a whole new level of God, and just come with expectation. So.
She got two mics. She don't know which one to rock.
This is Lestar closing out. I just wanted to briefly touch on the topic as far as keeping the schools open. One way to do that is really getting the community involved. Our community has to stand behind our young adults, our school system. Parents need to be involved in like PTA meetings. It's one thing to talk about things once things are closed, but being proactive in your community. That is a way to really change the era. So that's one of the things that I wanted to mention when we were having that discussion. It's just kind of really getting involved in your community. So, but like these ladies said, the Makeover Conference will be May 7th. Make sure you're there. The Makeover Workshop, 2114 Dabney Road, Richmond, Virginia. Registration starts at 9:30 to 10, and the workshop session is from 10 to 4. Please, guys, come out, support. Find us on Facebook. We're on Facebook, The Makeover Workshop. You can find our event on Facebook, The Makeover. or you can go on Eventbrite and register at the Makeover Workshop. Thank you so much for having us, Marcus J. Ain't no half stepping.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure having you guys here in the studio with us. So I know you guys got to go, so I'm going to stop running my mouth and take us to break. And when we come back, we're going to take a walk into the Shampipple room. The Shampipple room, of course, where we've got lava lamps, and we got we got pimps walking around with fishes inside their shoes and all kinds of stuff.
It's like that?
Oh, it's like that up in my house.
Yeah, it's like hanging
Word.
out. It's
Step
like
in Mr. 3375 house, the Shampipple room. It's about to go down.
It's
Yes,
like
sir.
hanging
Yes,
out
sir.
It's like hanging out with Fred and Leroy and Skillet
That's
and
right.
Bubba
Grady.
and Grady.
3 degrees coming over?
Yeah, 3 degrees.
They just
Word.
might. So we're gonna take this break.
Can't forget about Rollo.
Nah, we're gonna take this. Yeah, right. We're gonna take this break. When we come back, we got some more of the show. We stress free, y'all. Be back in a few.